Hello everyone and welcome to the most recent episode of the Bearded Tyke. Today we're going to be covering off the, shall we say, abject performance against Port Vale in the Virtue Trophy a couple of nights ago. And then we'll be having a quick look at the FA Cup second round tie with Peterborough on Saturday. Just quickly before we move on to that, as I'm still getting used to using this recording software and stuff like that and making YouTube videos. So it's something I've not spoken about before, but if you could like, share and comment and subscribe to my videos, that would be great, guys. It'd really be a massive help. If you've enjoyed the video, if you can just give it a quick like, and if you've got any comments, whether you thought the video were good, bad, or if you've got any ideas about what could make it better, or if you found it boring or whatever. Honestly, guys, I'll not be offended. I'm new to this. I'm only doing it for a bit of fun. It's certainly not to try and make any income out of it. I'll just do it because I enjoy doing it. So any ideas you've got, any comments, I'd be more than happy to receive them, and I'll try to get back to you all. But if you could like, share, comment and subscribe, that'd be a massive help, guys. Right, so moving on. Before we kick off on talking about Barnes' performance, I'd like to just offer some praise for Port Vale. I don't want it to sound like sour grapes, like kicking off because we shouldn't be getting beat by the likes of Port Vale and all that sort of crap. Just because they're bottom of League One, which they are. But however, I'll tell you what, who looked bottom of League One on Tuesday night, and it certainly worked Port Vale. I thought they were excellent. I thought they played really well. We were incredibly poor and we allowed them to play, but like you said, they can only beat what's in front of them, and they did beat us as well. They gave us a good spanking. It was, they took their first 4 of their first 5 goals. They took incredibly well, really well hit strikes, really accurate, really powerful. Maybe our lads could take a bit of a note about how to take your opportunities when you're in front of goal like that. Not that we don't score a lot of goals, but there's not many that's been hit quite as well as those were against us on Tuesday night. So maybe it's something they can take note of. But overall, I thought Port Vale were excellent. They beat us easily. The scoreline didn't flatter them at all. They could have easily had 8 or 9, to be fair. So I've got nothing but praise for them, and hopefully that this win can kick on and move on to their league form, because the only thing that's been holding them back really is their ability to score their opportunities. They are one of the highest chance creators in the league, and they've just not been converting them in the league for whatever reason. But in this trophy, they have. They've scored now 16 in this competition, but only 11 in the league. So hopefully they can transfer this form from the Virtue Trophy into their league form. But yeah, well done, Port Vale. Got nothing but praise for you guys. So we move on to our performance now. Before we actually get onto the performance, I just want to touch on the competition itself. Honestly, I'm glad we're out of it. Right, I think it's a terrible competition. You just have to look at the attendances for these games. 5-10% of the stadium full. The fans are just not interested in it. So the EFL have got to do something with it. For me, they need to stop entering the under-21 teams into it. I think that's been the biggest effect on the tournament. Just because the sort of the audacity to think that a under-21 team can come in and beat League One and League Two teams, which the vast majority of the time they can't. 90% of the time they're getting beat, and getting beat quite easily the most of the time as well. They do get the odd victory here and there, but it's certainly not worked out, and it's made the competition worse. So for me, that needs to be scrapped, and also they probably need to go back to a knockout format. For me, they could scrap the whole thing. I get the reason why the competition's there. It gives the chance for League One and League Two teams to get the opportunity to go and play for a cup final at Wembley, which they're unlikely to have in the actual EFL Cup, in the League Cup or the FA Cup. So I get the reason for the competition there. It just needs revamping, because at the moment, especially for League One and League Two squads that don't have the biggest squads, it's just a drain on the squads, and having these stupid league stages and then multiple knockout stages. It just needs to go straight to a knockout stage and then kick the under-21s and under-21 Premier League teams out. But anyway, that's me rant over about the competition. I'm glad we're out. However, I will say I'm not glad in the manner which we exited the competition on Tuesday night, because that performance was, I'm trying to think of a better word than shite, but it was shite, wasn't it? It absolutely garbage right from the kick-off. Straight from the kick-off, we were 2-0 down within 8 minutes. I took our Aussie to football to training. I thought I'll sit in car, I'll get it on iFollow and sit and watch it. And by the time I turned it on, it was 1-0, and literally within a minute of having it on, it was 2-0. And I'm like, what am I watching here? And the performance was pathetic. The guys were so far off it. million miles off what we're seeing in the league, and at times the league performance has not been good. So it gives you an idea just how bad it was on Tuesday night. The gaps between the midfield and the defence was too big. The gaps between the defenders were too big. Port Vale were knocking it about like Barcelona. They were getting opportunity after opportunity. They could have been 6-0 up at half time, easily, if not more. It were absolutely abject. It was pathetic. The lads just running around, not putting anywhere near. I wouldn't even say like 50% of effort in. It was just. It was so poor, and I just feel really sorry for the faithful fans that went down. I think we had 88 Barnsley fans that travelled down to Stoke to go watch that game on a rainy Tuesday night, to have to go and watch that. You see, for me, I don't like the competition, and you can clearly see the players don't like the competition, right? But the very least you can do when you pull that shirt on, when you pull that on, is be proud to represent Barnsley Football Club, right, and put a decent amount of effort in. Because at the very least, right, that competition was an opportunity for some of the guys that are not getting in the first 11 to put their hands up and go, oh, Connor, I'm here, look. Yeah, this is my opportunity to show you. Fucking hell, they didn't, did they? I mean, there's nobody that came into that squad on Tuesday night that have argued any case for being included in the starting 11 for the league games. There just isn't. So that was disappointing to see as well. Our lack of chance creation was worrying. There was no desire to get back into the game at all. We often puffed a little bit at two. I thought Callum Cooper doing the commentating. Listen, I know it's Callum's job, and he's got to put a positive spin on it. But he was trying to put a positive spin on. We were 2-0 down, and we were trying to get back into the game. It was making it sound like we were dominating it. We weren't. It was shit. It was really, really poor. And I think he probably get a bit more praise for being a bit more honest about what the performance was, which was shite. So that said, I just wanted to. That's what. Yeah. So that was what I wanted to mention. I don't know if you guys have noticed this as well. Listen, I want to preface this with I really support Connor Uren. I don't think there's been so much stuff online about it the other night about sack him and stuff like that. That's ridiculous. The problem's not the coach, guys. The problem's not the coach. It's the squad depth and the lack of investment in the squad. It's not going to change with somebody else coming in. And I think Connor is going to be an excellent coach, and I think he's cutting his teeth with us. And I think we need to stick with him because I think good things will happen under Connor. Just chopping and changing the coach every 2 minutes ain't working. Look at his performances over the last few seasons. It don't work. So we need to stick with Connor. But that aside, that does not mean he's free from criticism. In my opinion, I don't understand why we're trying to put square pegs in round holes. Take the left back situation. Last two games, MDG's played at left back. Right, he's a right-sided, right-footed centre back. Could he play at right back? Potentially could play at right back. I think he may do a job at right back. When he's played right back for us this season, he looked a little bit dodgy. And let's just have it right. When Tanai Watson came in, we've looked a million times better down that side, right? Okay, so that gives you an idea of whether he can play right back efficiently or not. But to play him at left back, I just don't understand it, especially when we've got Ogbetter on bench. Now, unless he's carrying a knock, but he came on against Luton and he came on against Stockport and looked absolutely fine. So he doesn't look like it. So I just don't get it. Maybe Ogbetter's form's not as good, but surely playing a player that plays left wing or left wing back as his natural position and he's left footed and can also run in behind and get into like deep positions to put a ball in. Surely that is a better option than playing a right footed right centre back at left back. I mean, call me stupid, but that's what I think personally anyway. And also this experiment of moving Caelan Vickers away from the right wing. Why? He was doing brilliant at right wing. He had one of the standout performances earlier in the season in that position. And then he's pulled him into a number 10. He ain't a number 10, right? A, he isn't a number 10, and B, he ain't physical enough to be a number 10. He's a small lad. He's still growing into his body. He's quite slight. But that's what really helped him on the right wing. He would trick it, he was in and out, he had the pace to go around people. I don't understand why we've taken like what looked to be a good formula and a good position for him and then moved him out of it. If he isn't good enough to play right wing, then don't play him or bring him on as a sub at right wing. Don't try and crowbar him into positions. It just doesn't work. It's never worked in the past. It's not worked. So this experiment that he's doing where he's putting different players in different places, like when we were playing early doors, when we were playing Didsey on left wing. Never been a left winger in his life. I don't understand that. I don't know if it's something he's trying out or whatever, but for me, stuff like that needs to be sorted out on the training field. I think we need to be playing players to the strength, and we don't have a big enough squad to be experiment with square peg round hole positioning. I really don't think we do. But let me know what you think in the comments about that. So, and the other thing that I want to touch on about Connor was, this is not another not having another go at him, not another criticism of him, but he clearly wanted to do well in this competition. Right, look at the strength of the squad. And I did read a lot of stuff online. They just don't want to be in it. They've gone out. Okay, right, that's fair enough. But if Connor has thought that, why has he played the squad that he's played? Especially with the Lincoln game coming up next Tuesday, he can't really want to risk any injuries to his players unless he's taking the competition seriously and wants to progress. If he wants to progress in the competition, why did the players perform like that? Because they looked as disinterested as they could. I mean, you couldn't be more disinterested than they were on Tuesday night. And this isn't a one-off. This is why I'm thinking it. This isn't a one-off. If you looked at the Lincoln game, where again we named a strong team for this competition, we named a strong team for that Lincoln game at home in the last group stage game, and we saw pretty much the same performance. Abject, jogging about, can't be arsed, no effort, no desire to get back into the game. So that for me is a little bit of a concern, I have to say, because if the coach is saying one thing and the players are saying, "Nah, mate, we don't want to play in this competition," that's a little bit of a concern. But I might just be overthinking it. It might just be coincidence. But certainly, if you look at the Lincoln performance in this competition and then the Port Vale performance, both were shit. Both were playing strong teams. Both times Connor was saying he wanted to do well in this competition because he did well in it in 2016. It can be, and saying it could be a real springboard for the league performances. But I mean, I'm glad we're out of it. To be fair, I just don't like the manner we went out of it. But you know, it's just I might just be overthinking it. But anyway, that aside, let's put that to bed. Let's hope it doesn't leak or we don't have any hangover going into the Lincoln game. And we move on to Saturday, where we will be playing Peterborough United in the FA Cup second round away at London Road. I won't be attending this one myself because I went to the league game in August. I think that was my third or fourth visit to London Road. So my desire to go to the second round cup tie on a Saturday when it's going to be pissing it down is minimal. And besides that, my son's got a game on Saturday with an 11:30 kick-off, so we couldn't have gone even if I wanted to. But I wouldn't have gone if it were a free Saturday. I'll be watching this one on telly. Fair play to the guys that are going down, but it's not for me this week. However, it'll be interesting to see what squad he does put out. Connor said in his post-match interview after the Port Vale game, which were a bit of an interesting interview. No apology. Should have had an apology for the fans. Anyway, moving on. He did say there'll be a lot of changes in the squad. I think that he at least had to have at least one or two of these squads going into these cup games that needed to be heavily changed so we can save some legs for the very important league game against Lincoln next Tuesday. So it'll be interesting to see what he puts out. Peterborough themselves have found a little bit of form, shall we say. They've lost the last two in the league, but they've both been close games. I think they've looked a lot better coming. They won the four previous to that in all competitions after Luke Williams came in and Darren Ferguson left. They were really struggling early doors, which is a surprise really, because Peterborough have always been a really strong League One team. They've been promoted out of the league a few times into the Championship. They've always been in and around the playoffs, but the last couple of seasons they've really struggled, and they looked absolutely like relegation fodder early doors under Darren Ferguson. But since Luke Williams has come in, they've looked a lot better. So it'll be interesting to see what side they put out. It'll be interesting to see what we put out, and we'll see how we crack on. Would I be bothered if we went out? Not really. It'd be good to get a big side again in the third round. But the last two times we've played big Premier League teams in the Cup, shall we say it didn't go well? Conceded 13 in 2 games and got his arse smacked. So, would I be bothered if we went out? No. But we need to see something different to what we saw on Tuesday night. We can't have another performance like that and that form and that negativity in the squad carrying over to the league game. Because, I'm not exaggerating when I think this is probably our biggest game of the season so far. Not because of the side that we're playing. Listen, Lincoln are an excellent team. Really good, solid League One team with a great coach. They've got a great squad. But it's just with Lincoln being ahead of us, the 6 points in front of us. We've got 2 games in hand on them. We'll continue to have 2 games in hand on them after we play with them, obviously. But if we can gain 3 points and still have 2 games in hand on a team above us, it's really, really important that for a league position. So I think from that standpoint, for me, it's the most important game we've played this season so far. So I don't want any hangover or negativity leaking into that match day on a week of Tuesday. So interesting to see how we crack on. For me, I never bet against Barnsley. I never say against Barnsley. So I think we're going to win that. I'm going to say 2-1. I'm going to say 2-1 Barnsley. 2-1 Barnsley. Going to go with that. So let's hopefully get through to the next round. So anybody that's travelling down to Peterborough on Saturday, safe travels. Hope you have a good day, and let's see if we can come back with and be in the hat for the 3rd round come Monday. Alright guys, thanks for joining me. Like I said, please like, share, subscribe and comment where you can, and I'll see you after. Ta-da.